whips on the crowd. A massive basket.
3. You are kidding me.
And the fire burned brightest. Townsville are WNBL champions for the 4th time.
In a bid to secure their first win of the season. Standing in their way are the Sydney Flames, who are tonight celebrating Captain Tess Madgen's 250th WNBL game, as well as a thrilling win over Adelaide on Wednesday night. It's Friday Night Hoops in the nation's capital, and here to take you through it are Julia Montesano and Southside Flyers captain Beck Cole. Beck, a big opportunity awaits both teams tonight.
It really does. I can't wait to see whether Sydney can go back-to-back with their wins. Are they finding momentum, or can Canberra get an upset here and get their first win, and they'll be so happy they're back home on their home court?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, Tess Madgen will also be happy tonight. She's bringing up her 250th WNBL game. She also earns life membership off the back of that as well. She's had an esteemed career. We obviously know she's the Opals captain and Olympian, but in the WNBL, she's played with Bendigo, Melbourne, and then back with Townsville. Won a championship with the Boomers a few years ago as well. Went overseas to Europe and in America. She's had an absolutely decorated career, but an amazing achievement tonight to bring up 250, Beck.
Like you said, what an amazing milestone. And she will want to get the win tonight, and also her team will want to get around her, because it is such a special thing. Like you said, life membership, not everyone gets it. Such a massive achievement, so congrats, Tess.
Absolutely. And of course, Tess will be hoping her team can go back-to-back tonight as well, because her team had a thrilling victory over the Lightning on the road on Wednesday by 2 points. We saw Kayla George impressing with 15 points and 15 rebounds. What can Sydney do to continue their momentum here at the NCCC, Beck?
I think what Sydney need to do is stay confident in their process. They are a new team with lots of new additions. You know, you have Loz and Dee Dee from the start, but then you have Tess coming back from injury. You have Kayla coming back from overseas in the WNBA. Everyone is slowly finding momentum, but defense is what wins games.
Absolutely, they'll know that tonight. And looking at the ladder as well, it's 5th versus 8th tonight, but as you can see elsewhere on the table, Beck, every game does matter. It does put it into perspective about how much tonight's game could turn things.
It really does, and I just believe the ladder doesn't really mean a whole lot right now. On any given day, anyone can beat anyone, and UC Caps took Melbourne Boomers, who are currently first, into overtime. So I know that it's saying that Sydney Flames are 5th and UC Caps are 8th, but honestly, today is going to be a game of a complete 4 quarters.
Absolutely. We're going to take a look at each team in a moment as well. And the starting 5 for the Caps, it's Melbourne, Sharp, Fowler, Munga and Okoya. And someone like Alex Fowler could hold the key in this game, Beck. She's shooting at 84% from 2-point range and 60% from 3-point range. They are amazing numbers.
It is fantastic stats, and you know, for her and her team, I'd be looking maybe to get her some more opportunities. If she's shooting the ball that good, keep going to the well till it dries up. And you know, it's only her 2nd season in the league, so people are learning how to defend her. So I would use that opportunity while she still can.
Taking a look at Sydney's starting 5 now, and they've got Bradley, Madgen, Nicholson, Richards and George to start on the floor. And speaking of Kayla George, she's come into some good form at the right time, Beck.
She has. Her team definitely needs her. She's their main big man, and she got a double-double. That's got to be great confidence for her, great confidence for her team. You know, they had a few days off. They're able to refresh. They got that win, and then hopefully they can go back-to-back here tonight.
Well, the official WNBL app is finally here. We don't want you to miss a minute of the action, therefore. For live scores, highlights, all your player and team info and more, download the free WNBL app today. So Sydney in the second of their 3-game road trip, coming off a break last week, and went over to Newcastle to do a few community activations. And Canberra, on the opposite hand, are beginning a run of 4 straight games at home. So it's a completely different story for these two teams. How do you think they both attack tonight's game?
It has, and I think it's been a lot like that for some matchups lately, where one team sort of had a bit of a refresher, which sometimes that time is really good, and then other times it's like, okay, no, we need to get back on the training track. And will Canberra come out here with lots of energy? Will they be a bit tired? Our Flames going to take advantage of that? But I cannot wait to see what our Friday Night Hoops has in store for us.
In the nation's capital, one of the best crowds in the country, always getting around their team. We see a lot of young faces on the floor in this Caps lineup. They're desperate for their first win of the season. Sydney desperate to go back-to-back. They're sitting in 5th, so they're right in contention with the top 4. And tonight, as we know, will be a big contest at the NCCC. The music's pumping, the refs are ready to go, the players are ready to go. We're ready to go in Friday Night Hoops in the nation's capital. And it's Tess Madgen, the 250 gamer, who passes the ball to Bradley and gets things started for Sydney. Here's Nicholson now. Back to Madgen. She'd love a basket to get her team started tonight. Hands it into George instead. And that is some great first up play there from Sydney.
Guy will be happy with that. I tell you what, that was up on the drawing board and they executed it to a T.
Let's see what Okoye's got in store now. Over to Fowler, who's shooting it well, and that's no exception.
Just what we were speaking about, what great numbers she has been shooting at, and why not let that go?
Speaking of letting it go, Bradley does the same. We've got raining threes early here at the NCCC.
We do, and you can't have a step off Bradley. She is a great shooter.
Here's Munga now for her opportunity. This one rattles out. Nicholson's there for the take. Just steps back for the time being. She's got Madgen free in the corner. George finds her. And now Madgen gets to work. Jade's right there with her, and Melbourne gets the hand in and forces the stop.
Great defensive pressure, and I can tell early Canberra are switching on those on-ball defensive plays. So what they did in that first play was Madgen looked into George, she got an easy layup. So I think if they can look at that on the attack of Canberra's switching defence, that will be a great play for them to go to.
So Sydney pressing up quite high up the floor, but Melbourne's able to take it away. Just get it to Munga. Tight D here by the Flames. Sharp. Having a really fantastic debut season with the Caps. Gets it into Okoye, spins, and can't make it count. Canberra getting the ball back, though.
And that's what Munga does. She just is a workhorse. She goes after the board. She gets her team second chance points, second possessions, and that will be, I think, crucial in tonight's game.
Munga coming off 15 points, 8 rebounds and 3 assists against your mob, the Flyers, Beck. So she's got herself into some good form.
Unfortunately, I guess us,
yes,
it sounds like.
I know. So Melbourne into Munga. Trying to get around George. Back up the top to Melbourne. Shot clock ticks down to 5. Melbourne pulls the trigger. It's George at the bottom of the rim. Here's Nicholson now going for a run. Has Richards, uses her, sets her feet and doesn't do it well.
I'd love to see Richards actually shoot that. That was great transition. Nicholson pushed it up the floor. She had 2 people collapse on her, and Richards was open on that 3-point line.
So 5 plays 3 early doors here. Fowler with it. And now Sharp moving quickly against Nicholson. Steps back. George again with another rebound. This time Madgen running a play. In their 250th game. Into George. This time it's picked off by Sharp. It allows Melbourne to get going. A no-look pass to Fowler, and that is classic Caps basketball.
It is. They've done a great job so far of getting deflections, getting hands in there, and that can really get them into their style of play, which is offensive transition.
Here's Nicholson now, into Madgen, double teams, and she's fouled on the way through. So both teams playing quite manic defense to start this game, and look at that pass from Melbourne. Fowler says, thank you very much. Madgen team bound for Sydney. George. Here's Richards now. Going to work on Okoye. Good stop there.
Yeah, that was great defense. Richards probably has the foot speed on Okoye. She was able to force her baseline and cut her off.
So the ref's just having a little discussion there. I think they might overturn the call. Let's see whose foot it came off.
Yeah, that's a hard one. There probably was a bit of a body foul. There also was a bit of a hook. That could have been anyone's ball.
It will be Sydney's, formerly Canberra's, but now Imagine gets an opportunity. Into George. And that shot won't count. Fowler doing a lot of hard work on George. It'll be a big matchup for her tonight.
I know that was a foul, but what I love is Canberra is being really, really aggressive. They're up in their grills, they're pressuring the ball, and you can already tell Flames are getting a bit irritated because they're not able to do what they want to naturally. So I think that is a good start on the defensive end for the Capitals.
It forces a change and Potter comes onto the floor. And this time again, there was a foul called, I believe. So it'll be a Canberra ball from the sideline at this stage. Koya with it. So quite stop-start in these past couple of minutes. The refs coming into this game. Melbourne flying through, but George says nah.
Great take, even better block by George there.
Just saw her coming down the lane, Kayla George, and said nope.
Great help split line, and that's what you need to do when Jade is coming down on offensive transition.
So 5 apiece here. The Caps will get another go at it. I believe it was a foul on Imagine. Off-ball foul. So both teams a bit handsy to start off. 3 team fouls already for the Caps and a couple there for the Flames. Okoya. Potter sets her feet. That one doesn't work. The ball's still in dispute. Sharp kicks it out to Melbourne and they can go again. Okoya dives in and banks it in.
And that is Sharp's point. She got that second chance point and rebound for her team, and then a great assist into the mismatch against Okoye.
So the Capitals take the lead at the NCCC. What could Sydney do to respond? Here's Bradley. Shot clock in single figures. Bradley just pops it up. And the Caps able to bring it down through Melbourne. Just looking at what's ahead of her and then goes to the rack and dumps it in. So 3 straight buckets for the Caps. Getting on a bit of a roll in front of their home crowd after 4 straight games on the road. George just getting Potter out of the way and tried dumping it to Nicholson. Ended up getting a hold of the ball and then just glided it in. Nicholson's first points of the night. Here's Melbourne now. Potter. And George interfered there. So Potter heads to the line.
I love that Potter's come into the game. She's been confident. She took an open 3, which is her shot. Then she's, you know, attacked George there in the lane. So I love that. You know, she's missed a couple of games, but she's come in full of confidence, and it's great to see her out there again tonight.
So Gemma Potter at the line. Can't knock down the first one.
I wouldn't mind seeing another maybe off-ball action for Nicholson. She does have that height advantage in the 2 spot against the Canberra guards, and she really works well off the ball. She just got a nice shot in there, and she has been such a big part of the Flames' offense. I'd like to see maybe a few more options go to her early.
Here she is now, ranked 7th in the league for scoring, 16.2 points per game. Keeps it in her front half of the court. Bradley's got some work to do here. Kicks it out to Imagine, and that is perfect for her 250th game. The perfect way to kick off her night. Draws the Flames level. Sharp in the corner, loves that range. And Koya got tangled up there. So you can see Sharp letting it fly, and then Imagine and Okoya getting each other's way.
The players are probably a bit frustrated. They can't really get a flow with all these calls being made, but what they need to do is just respond to how the refs are reffing the game and keep their hands out. You can still be physical, but adjust, and so you can get momentum and get flow going.
Here's George. And to Imagine. Clark on the floor for her first minutes for Canberra tonight. George. Great defense there. Really good stop by the smaller Caps lineup, and Gemma Potter in particular. Too long in the key there for Kayla.
And Potter has not shied away. You know, George is a vet player in the league. She's coming off a great game. Potter is getting up and in her and getting George frustrated.
Here's Munga. That one just flies out of court. So some subs are going to head onto the floor. Looks like Alex Bunton is about to be injected into the game after missing a few with injury. They need her height out there tonight with Kayla George looming large, although interesting that George has taken a seat while Bunton's gone on. So we'll see what happens in these 4.5 minutes here. Looks like the Caps like the matchup as it is at the moment. Melbourne hit the deck. Imagine back-to-back threes for the veteran. Great to see her firing on all cylinders tonight on a really special occasion for her and her family. Melbourne. Again, a clever pass. Bunton just couldn't quite handle it. Got it back up top. This time swings it out to Munga. Gets a hold of it. Can't knock it down. It's in the safe hands of Tess Madgen now. Looks overhead. Bradley. Madgen again. Rowe. Nicholson. Goes baseline. And got fouled on the way through. So Lauren Nicholson finding her way there through some traffic. Jada Clark doing her best in that situation. It'll be Nicholson at the line. 7th in the league for scoring. Continues her 100% free throw record. Shooting at 42% from the field this season. And just as I said it, she's missed her first free throw of the season. So the commentator's curse strikes again. Apologies, Lauren. But Jada Clark's off and running for Canberra. Bunton spinning around McSpadden. Can't get her teammate on the other end. Here's Nicholson. Sydney ball. So Bradley's going to swap places with Clark out there for the Flames. Bradley played a really convincing game last time these two teams met. 12 points, a career high for her in the WNBL. Imagine 3 threes in a row, not this time.
Madgen has hit some, I think, crucial three-point shots. I know it's only early in the game, but they were down by a bit. She hit a nice shot, and then to get them 3 points up, she hit another 3. So with her feet set, time and space, that is going down.
The leading scorer on the floor so far, Tess Madgen, in her 250th game. Munga. Looked positive early doors. Now Sharp just gets it taken off her. Now has to go to work against Clark. Here's Jada Clark. 5 seconds on the shot clock to work with for the young gun from the Caps. And McSpadden's there to pull down the rebound. Madgen off and running. What could she do this time with ball in hand? Has Sharp there for company. Uses Rowe. Now uses Nicholson. Goes behind the back against Clark, and she's off to the line once again.
That was a nice behind-the-back move for Loz, just to get that extra bit of space to be able to go to the line. And I think Caps now, they've reached 5 team fouls. There's still 2.5 minutes. So I would really look to keep your hands out. 2.5 minutes is a lot of game for Flames just to keep going to the line.
So imagine taking a well-deserved rest for these last 2.5 minutes of the first term. 6 points, 2 from 3 from three-point range. As Nicholson continues to get herself on the score sheet tonight. Her fourth point of the game. Lauren Nicholson leading Sydney in scoring, making an impact in a 9th WNBL season. Here's Melbourne. Canusis getting some minutes there for the Flames as well. Bunton into Melbourne. Uses her speed, and Bunton's there to mop it up. Good bucket there from Alex Bunton. And a much-needed one as well, it must be said. Sydney with a bit of momentum late in this first term. Panusis dumps it into McSpadden. They weren't quite on the same page. Panusis gets it back. Can't knock it down. Now the Caps off and running. Bunton couldn't quite get that same shot, but Alex Sharp was there to finish off. So there's 2 points in it as we head into the last 90 seconds of this first quarter. The NCCC, Nicholson with it. Finds some space and finds a bucket. She made that look easy.
She did. I think there was a bit of miscommunication there between the Caps guards. I think Sharpie was looking to switch and it didn't happen, and Nicholson is too good if you do that.
Melbourne pulls up, and Panusis is there to mop up. Just slows it down for the time being. You know they can use their shot clock here. Nicholson gets some assistance from McSpadden, but too heavy on the contact. So 14 plays 18. Sydney in 5th spot on the ladder. The Caps sitting in 8th. It'll be McSpadden at the line for her first points tonight. If, of course, she can knock these free throws down. 8th season for her in the league. Back with the team she started with. And does knock down that first free throw. Averaging 5.3 points per game, 3.5 rebounds. Only 44% from the line, interestingly, but let's see if she can knock this second one down. And she does.
You reverse the commentator's curse.
See, I make up for it. I look after players. I try to, trust me. I don't want to do commentators' curses. They're not my favourite thing. Jada Clark into Melbourne. Goes to work. Can't bake it in. Nicholson has Panusis ahead, uses her. Not in any rush, Vanessa Panusis, then gets on her left. Clark wanted it in the corner, then went in, baseline, and a beautiful reverse by Emma Clark.
Beautiful move that was.
Melbourne now with 10 seconds left. Flames getting on a bit of a run towards the end of this first term. And a carry there from Jade Melbourne gives Sydney the ball back at a crucial time. Perhaps one last shot to finish what has been a really successful opening term for them. On their second of 3 straight road games in 8 days. Panusis wants to let it fly and does. And that one's just fallen short. But at the end of the first quarter at the NCCC, it is Sydney 22 leading Canberra 14. We'll see you on the other side of this for an action-packed second quarter.
for your pathway in basketball? She Hoops Leadership and Confidence Scholarship can help. We're offering 30 girls from around Australia the opportunity to develop as coaches, players and officials, with mentoring from some of Australia's best basketballers and some of Australia's best coaches in breaking down barriers. If you're a girl aged 15 to 18, then this is for you. This 5-month program will accelerate your development both on and off the court. Interested? Head to shehoops.com.au to apply.
Welcome back to the National Convention Centre, where it's the Flames leading the Caps by 8 points at the end of the first term. Julia Montesano and Beck Cole with you to take you through the second quarter action. And Beck, Sydney really did get on the front foot towards the end of that first term. What do you think was the key to them getting the ascendancy early on in this game?
I think it was the defensive pressure they were applying. They were forcing Caps to take, you know, sort of bad shots or quick shots, and then they were able to run down either in transition or get it through hands. They got a bit more of their flow and momentum.
And for the Caps, what do you think Kristen Veal's saying in this huddle? How do they try to get back into this one?
I think they actually fell apart from what they started really well at, was that deflections, getting up and pressuring. But what they need to do is just make sure they keep their hands out. You know, they were on 5 team fouls with 3 minutes to go. That's also another reason why Flames were able to chip away a bit. They were getting easy shots at the line. So I think maintain that pressure, keep your hands out, and then I'd like to see maybe the ball go through some hands a bit more, get some more just open shots that are easier and not as forced.
So leading point scorers for each team at the moment. Nicholson has got herself up to 7 points. Imagine out there with 6. Bradley there with 3 and 2 points for Emma Clark. And then for the Caps, Alex Fowler had a really hot start with 5 points, and then Bunton, Okoye and Melbourne each on 2 points. So second quarter tipping off at the NCCC, 22 plays 14. Canberra on the hunt for their first win of the season. Sydney after back-to-back victories after a thrilling 2-point win against Adelaide on Wednesday night. Here's Richards into the contest. Didn't see too much of her in the first term. George found Richards open and still can't get her name on the scoreboard. Good pressure there by the Caps. They're starting the second term like they started the first. Okoye now. Into Munga. Now Sharp. Here's Fowler, their leading scorer on the floor tonight. A great little pass to Sharp, who went under Clark perfectly.
Nice high-low action, and Fowler and Sharp are two people who work really well off the ball, so that was great movement.
George has a look and knocks it down.
If you're going to ice on that pick and roll, so that's forcing the guard away from the screen, you either have to have full rotation because George is a flat-out shooter.
Sharp now. Melbourne. Not quite falling for Jade Melbourne tonight. Just the 2 points so far. Richards trying to get herself into the game, going to work at Okoye. And she was fouled. See, Okoye had the right idea and then one hand too many. Sends Dee Richards to the line. Hoping to get her first points of the night. Had a few nervous moments early doors. And Gemma Potter will now replace Monica Okoye out there on the floor. So 4th foul already. That's very big trouble there for Kristen Veal.
It is, and she's a bigger, stronger player that, you know, they require in that 4 spot, sometimes 5. So it will be interesting to see how Flames take advantage of Okoye sitting on the bench.
Here's Melbourne now. George able to clean it up. Imagine on the left and bakes it in. Tess Madgen turning back the clock tonight. Not that it was... She's always got it really, though.
It was good to see Melbourne attack that, but I think after, you know, 2 or 3 missed shots, what would be good for Canberra, because she is their point guard, is just, hey, I'm going to pull back this one. I'm going to get it through hands and get going. But this will be good, some foul shots to see the ball go through the net. Because this is sport. You're going to have days where your shots just don't bloody drop. And that's the name of the game. So hopefully this second one goes down for Melbourne and, yeah, she can get her confidence back up and running.
She's 1 from 8 from the field tonight. And 1 from 2 from the free throw line. Okay, third point for the night. And Bakoya on the bench. Very early doors. The Caps have a lot of work to do. Madgen. Oh, just can't miss tonight, Tess Madgen.
And that's her bread and butter. When she's on a smaller guard, she might not be as quick, so she uses that reverse spin move and she just nails that jump shot most times.
Getting out to a difficult margin here for the Caps. And Sydney get themselves another stop. 31 plays 17 now. So Richards at the baseline. Bradley with it. Sydney looking to get their season up and going with George and Madgen back together. Here's Madgen again. Clark pulls down the strong rebounds. Madgen with the hot hand, gets it to George. Clark wants to finish what she started, but instead loses it. Here's Alex Sharp. 4 points for her tonight, and that one from Potter just goes astray.
And by George being on that split line, no, she didn't reject it, but she was big and long, and she changed Potter's shot.
Madgen with the hustle play to keep it in, but only as far as Mugger. And now Melbourne wants to move it quickly. Clark hit the deck. Sharp wants to pull up. Oh, went underneath the defense, and that was a really clever move from Alex Sharp.
That was a sneaky little move there on the shot fake up and under. Important points for Capitals now.
So we hope that Clark's okay. It seems like she just got a little sort of accidental punch in the stomach or something like that. But here's Sharp. That was a really clever move without moving her feet as well. Just great body work from the Caps.
Seeing Tess Madgen on screen there, I would keep going to the well till it dries up. She's shooting the ball extremely well. I'd look for a play for her right now.
10 points, 4 from 6 from the field for Tess Madgen in game 250. Here she is with ball in hand. Guarded by Munger. Then puts the afterburners on. Munger's right there with her, but Madgen doesn't care.
Muscled her way through for a nice 2 points there.
Up to 12 points. That was a wayward pass. Probably not the right idea.
Canberra just need to settle it a little bit now. I feel like they're, rushing their passes or their shots. Take a deep breath. If your transition isn't on, get it through hands. They have great ball movement and plays that can cut really well. Maybe look at a flare or, go back to that pick and roll and see how the Flames are guarding that.
So timeout called on the floor. This timeout is brought to you by Cygnett, Australia's #1 digital accessories brand. Cygnett continues to power the WNBL. Australian owned and designed. Cygnett is available at JB Hi-Fi, Officeworks and other leading retailers. Visit cygnett.com. So 33 plays 19, and Guy will be pretty happy with his team's start to this quarter, Beck.
Yeah, Guy would be really happy. I feel like they've really been disruptive on the defensive end. And, after the first few minutes in that first quarter, I think they were able to take a breath, see how the Caps were defending them, and then go take advantage of that. So the Flames have been really good, especially in the first part of this second quarter.
And how about Tess Madgen? 5 from 7 from the field, 12 points. It's great to see her letting it rip in her 250th game.
She is. I love to see it, It's my 250th. I'm a go shoot the lights out of it. So it's awesome. And, that's what you want to see. These milestones don't come around every day. And, to be out there shining a light on her 250 and her playing a great game, that's what it's all about.
Well, the Caps have a bit of work to do. Down 33 to 19. Staring down the barrel of their 7th straight loss this season at the moment if they can't turn things around. George into Richards. Oh, she heads to the line. Just imagine how the Flames would be if Dee Dee Richards could get herself into the game. We see Tess Madgen having a positive impact, so too Lauren Nicholson.
That was a great offensive play by Richards. The Caps guards tend to switch a lot of guard-to-guard screens, and then Richards, being that taller guard, was able to slip it and get that post up. So that was a great read, and good to see Richards just see the ball go through the net.
So Canberra ball. Obviously a much smaller lineup than Sydney tonight. Richards and George, the two tall timber out there. And Sydney chasing Sharp down the foot. Here's Melbourne. Bradley right with her. Here's Sharp again. Caps desperately need a bucket. They need them quickly. Fowler into Munga. Shot clock ticks down to 3. Munga has to get to work on Nicholson. She might run out of time. Oh, she knocks down the clutch bucket instead.
Clutch bucket indeed, and one that's very needed by the Caps in this point of the game.
Good confidence booster for the home team. George and Nicholson are a dangerous combination. They're going again.
And that's what we spoke about before, but this time it was George. The Caps are switching the screens, and that allows a slip by the bigger player and just inside presence. So if they are going to do that, I would look at Caps hitting them earlier so the bigs can't get down as deep in the key.
So a nice shot there from Munga on your screen. George. Fowler right with her. Imagine back out there. Gets Sharp out of the way and rolls in her 14th point of the game. Jade Melbourne conversely with the 5 points, 2 from 10 from the field. Just trying to swing around Bradley, and then another no-look pass, and Richards says, nah, I saw that coming.
Great block by Richards, good energy, way to get her going. But this is an off-ball movement that I said that Caps are really good at. And I think if they can, you know, keep their dribble alive, get either flares or back cuts, that will really help them get this back slowly.
Here's Sharp under the rim. And George just came in too hard there. So Alex Sharp with the 4 points so far this game. Has an opportunity to get a couple more here at the free throw line. As Kayla George takes a seat. That was her second foul of the game. So Alex Sharp now, 15.8 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, ranking 3rd in the league for that stat, which is super impressive for not the tallest player out there.
It is, but she's just a player who gets after it, is athletic, and, you know, what a stat to have helping your team get those either extra chance points or you're grabbing down those defensive boards.
Having a really great first season with the Caps is Alex Sharp, coming across from Perth. McSpadden gets it taken off her. Melbourne looking for an option. Finds Fowler, who loves this range, and that's why. A big, much-needed 3 for the Canberra Capitals. Their first 3 of the quarter. Madgen into Richards. Back to Madgen. What she got left in her bag of tricks. Gets to work on Potter, and it was an offensive foul. Great stop there from the Caps and Potter in particular.
And Fowler is 2 of 2 from the 3-point range. We spoke about it earlier. She's shooting the ball extremely well. Maybe that's a player that you look to get going. If, you know, Jade is having an off first half and, you know, she's been a big scorer for them. You know, Sharp is doing well. Okay, let's look at Fowler for an open 3.
Melbourne goes herself this time, and that's great for her confidence. Margins back within single digits. A good little run here from the Caps. Imagine finds some space. That one falls short, and Canberra's got it again through Melbourne. What can they do with it here? Sharp gets to work on Bradley, and that one doesn't fall. So a 7-0 run from the Capitals. What can Nicholson do to respond? Finds some space of her own and knocks it down. Just silences the crowd for the time being as well, Lauren Nicholson. Always a great crowd in the house. Oh, and a beautiful find. Bunton makes no mistake of Melbourne's pass.
And this is what the Caps do. They go on little runs, and, you know, you might think that you're 15, even 20 points ahead, and you're just not. They play every single phase out, and you have to be aware. And, you know, they've played some great defensive clips here, chipping away, and then I think Jade has made some great decisions. Bunton has set some really good screens, and they've played a better form of team basketball here in this later part of the second quarter.
So after a 9-2 run in the Caps' favour, timeout called, and this one is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, proudly supporting community basketball in Australia. 38 playing 30 midway, or just towards the end, sorry, of the second term. And Kristen Deal will be really proud of what her team's putting out there right now, especially with the Koya on the bench with those 4 fouls, Beck.
Exactly, her team has stepped up, and I think you see Caps being a young team. On any given day, it can be someone else's chance for their opportunity, you know, their turn to stand up and show what they've got. So, you know, I think Fowler has been absolutely great. I think even Potter off the bench on the defensive end has really set a tone and helped the Capitals. So for me, they just need to get it done on the defensive end, apply that pressure, make it hard for the Flames to do what they normally want to do, and then, you know, use that offensive transition, that pace that they have in Melbourne. And if it's not on, hey, let's be smart, let's run it through hands, and let's see what we've got.
So Fowler, Bunton, Sharp, Melbourne and Clark back out onto the floor for the Caps. Nusis and Rowe trying to get things started here for Sydney. Still have an 8-point lead despite the Caps coming at them.
And Caps changing up their defence out of that timeout. They were in the press back to a zone, so just slowing the ball down.
It nearly paid off for George. Got in the right spot. Panousis an even better spot, but couldn't knock it down. And Sharp just runs into Rowe. Very uncharacteristic from Alex Sharp, but great defense there from Rowe. George ends up with Nicholson. Sydney happy to kick it around and use up all their shot clock seconds. Imagine into George. 3 seconds to work with Kayla George. Knocks it down. Melbourne now. Goes herself once again. And Bunton can't keep it in. She'll be key for the rest of this game, Alex Bunton. We know Okoya's on the bench there with those 4 fouls.
And Bunce has done a great job. You could tell the first couple of minutes she was a bit rusty coming off a game, like we all are when we miss a few games. You need to find your groove and your rhythm again. But she's just such a big presence down below. So if she's not, you know, getting the shots, what she's doing is she's actually taking up space, and, you know, Jade's able to find easier options at the rim.
Speaking of Jade, here is Melbourne getting it into Bunton. No whistle blown there, and it allows Nicholson to get off and running. Has Madgen there for support, but doesn't need her. Clutch basket there from Lauren Nicholson. And Sydney responding well out of the timeout. A minute left in this opening half. Melbourne with it. Her team down by 12. Clark back up the top to Melbourne. 4 seconds to work with Melbourne. Shot won't count.
I think the Caps have been getting some good things out of Melbourne and Bunce being in a on-ball pick and roll in that option. And if nothing's on for them to, you've got Sharpie and Potter on the outside who can shoot the ball. They're great at backdoor cutting. So I think that's some good movement and action for them.
So we'll have a timeout. Both coaches want to work out some plays for these last 42.7 seconds. It's the Flames 42 leading the Capitals 30. And what do you think the coaches have left in their bag of tricks for this opening half, Beck?
I'll be interested to see whether or not, they come out in a different defensive action, just like the Caps did in that press back to the zone. All it does is change things up. And when a coach like Veely might be drawing up a play that's supposed to be run against a man, Flames come out in a zone and it just changes the way the players think. So coaches are tactical like that. But it wouldn't surprise me. Guy Malloy, he's a very smart tactical coach. He'd be drawing up a play here. I'd either think it's probably with these people on the floor right now, it's either maybe going Madgen and George in a pick and roll or a play for Nicholson.
This timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. CTM Sport is here to transform your team's travel experience. Leave the hassle of off-court arrangements to CTM Sport, the experts in sports travel management. Get the winning edge at ctmsport.com.au. So 42 seconds left for both teams here. It's been a really competitive opening half. Sydney hoping for back-to-back wins. They've got 3 games in 8 days. They just had a big win against Adelaide on Wednesday night by a couple of points. What can they do here in the nation's capital? And now it's with Melbourne and the Caps. And she just uses her speed, puts on the afterburners and says, thank you very much.
And a great pick and roll between Bunce and Melbourne again. A good action that's working for them to get easy shots.
George and Bunton going head-to-head. Nicholson pulls up and knocks it down.
Did I call it or did I call it? I know Guy Malloy.
I think you've got a direct line to these coaches.
He coached me for many years.
There you go, Beck Cole calling the shots here from our commentary booth. Melbourne pulls up. Can't go back-to-back. Jada Clark with 1 second to shoot, just pops it up. And at half-time, it is the Sydney Flames who are leading the way. Sydney 44, leading the Capitals 32. Sydney really started to get on top at the end of that first term, Beck, and then the Capitals went on a bit of a run, and then it was pretty even for the rest of it. So by no means is this game over.
No, it's been a game of runs at the moment, but if I'm Flames and if I'm Guy Malloy, I'm really happy with my team. I've kept Canberra Capitals to 32 points in a whole 2 quarters. So to me, that's really impressive. If the Flames can do that for another whole second half, they will win this game. And then if I'm the Canberra Capitals, you've got to remember they've been on the road for a little while now. They're going to be tired. Their bench isn't as deep. I wouldn't be surprised if Veely maybe looks to use a few more legs here. You can tell the more tired they get, sometimes, the shots are falling a little short or they're not making that extra pass that they normally would. But, hey, stay with the process. Keep having that attacking mindset, but also just take deep breaths. When, the more tired you are, the worse your decision-making gets. So they're a younger team. They'll keep learning and they'll keep growing, but go back to the drawing board, find out what was working.
For Sydney, it was all working in the first half. 22 points to 14 in the first term and then 22 to 18. So the Cats got a bit better in that second quarter, but Sydney, off the back of some great shots by Tess Madgen and Lauren Nicholson on the end there with 13 points, have found themselves in the lead at halftime. What have you liked about their game so far, Beck?
I think Nicholson has just taken the shots that are open for her. She's great at a pick and roll. If the Caps have iced her on a pick and roll, she's been getting jump shots. She's been great in transition. We saw that last play. She was confident to go hit down that 3. And then Madgen's just been doing what she's good at. She's, feet set, 3-point shots. Her teammates have been finding her. And, she does a great job in the centre of that key, getting those jump shots when she has, that stronger body over those smaller guards.
Here's the team stats on your screen right now. 57%, an impressive clip for the Flames from field goal range. 34% for the Caps. And then 2 3-pointers for the Caps so far this game. Both hit by Alex Fowler. Flames have hit 4. Free throws, the Flames have been on the up there. And on the other stats, it's pretty even otherwise. We're taking a look at the top scorers for each team now. We can see the Flames already have 2 players in double digits, Madgen and Nicholson on 14 and 13. Jade Melbourne, after a really rusty start, 4 from 14 from the field for her tonight. Top scoring at the moment for the Caps with 9 points. Alex Sharp and Kayla George, no surprise to see them leading rebounds. And Jade Melbourne, of course, no surprise to see her leading assists. And Kayla George also doing pretty well in that stat category tonight and this season. So a really interesting contest awaits us on the other side of this short break. Second half coming up right up after this break. At the time being, it is Sydney 44 leading the UC Caps 32. Don't go anywhere.
For our homegrown superstars, this is the one that matters most. The Aussies are ready to unleash on 9 Summer of Awesome.
Ford dealers have backed sport in communities for nearly 100 years. And now, from the Boomers and Opals to Aussie Hoops, your local Ford dealer is proud to support basketball. Because all dreams start somewhere.
The WNBA was awesome. It's a whole different world over there. The basketball is crazy. You're playing against the best athletes every day. To be over there, Seattle's a great city. I absolutely loved it. I remember our coach said, this is the 12 we're rolling with on game 1. I was just like, wow, I've made it. I'm going to be playing a WNBA game.
That is a brand new face in the WNBA. She's a rookie out of Australia. She is just 20 years old.
Living out a dream come reality, and it was just a really special moment. What I've learned in the WNBA, I think is going to help me moving forward in my career. Just being that leader and that confident player that my teammates can rely on and trust, and hopefully I can get around them and empower them, and we can move together as a team really well. For me, basketball is just fun. I love playing the game. I love playing with my teammates, and just, those 4 lines and, the crowd support is just an unreal experience. Villy's great. This is my 5th season now working with her, and a big reason why I've been in Canberra for so long. I love the way she coaches. She doesn't have an ego at all, and she's a player's coach first, so just her ability, catch up with everyone. She's willing to build a relationship with people, so she gets that connection, and she values you so much more than just a player. She values you as a person as well, and I think that speaks volumes to the person she is. We're looking forward to playing under her again.
Hi, I'm Loz.
I'm Izzy.
In the 100 Christmas special, Santa's secrets will be exposed.
My husband is well into his 70s and still working. I've also heard he's got a second family in Darwin.
The 100, Sunday at 7 on 9 and 9 now.
Hello, Australia.
Want to go for a ride?
A summer heatwave has arrived.
This is it. This is what we've been waiting for.
4 spicy nights a week.
It's open season. It's Love Island.
Be afraid, boys.
The power has shifted. The girls are in charge.
What the hell? What the hell?
Surprise! The steamy villain era has arrived. New Love Island. New episodes drop Monday to Thursday on 9 Now.
Welcome back to the National Convention Centre on Ngunnawal country, where it's the Flames leading the Caps by 12 points. Julia Montesano and Southside Flyers star Beck Cole here to take you through the second half action. And Beck, before we get back into the game, we have to take a look at the team of the round because it includes absolute firepower. We've got Aari McDonald, we've got Ali Wilson, we've got Annalie Maley, and we've got Michaela Roof, and of course your teammate Mercedes Russell. What does Mercedes bring to your team, Beck?
Anything and everything. Mercedes is obviously a great inside presence for us. She's so big. She scores inside at will and then she gets those rebounds. She sets great screens. I love that personally as a guard. And, she finds all of our teammates. So whatever we need from her, depending on which team, she shows up and produces.
So a really strong round 5 team of the round. And I'll tell you what, Tess Madge's putting her hand up to be in the round 6 team of the round. She is our player of the half with 14 points, 6 from 9 from the field and 2 assists in her 250th WNBL game. What have you made of her performance so far, Beck?
I just think she's taken her open opportunities. Her teammates have done well to find her on the open three-point line, and then she's been aggressive, as we see here, against those smaller guards, getting into that mid-range jump shot. And, nothing's been rushed for her tonight. It's all been quite poised.
So Tess Madge in her 250th WNBL game. She earns life membership tonight. Has had stints with Bendigo, 2 with Melbourne, went overseas to play with Phoenix in the WNBA, a bit of time with Poland, a bit of time with Townsville on the back of that Europe stint, a two-time WNBL All-First Team member, an Opals captain, a 2020 Olympian, and her list just keeps growing. She's not done yet, the 33-year-old from the Barossa Valley. She's got her game off to a fantastic start tonight. Both teams back out for 32 placed 44. And the Caps have a bit of work to do to respond here, Beck.
They do. They just need to stay locked in. I think halftime would have been good just for them to take a deep breath, reflect, come out firing on all cylinders again. I think bring back that defensive intensity. That was really working for them, and then just get the ball through hands. And I think I'd like to see Sharpie and Fowler probably take a few more shots this second half.
So third quarter tipping off here at the National Convention Centre. The Flames leading the way by 12 points over the Caps. It'll be Gemma Potter who tries to get things started for the home side. Coming off 4 straight games on the road. Now they've got 4 straight games at home. They'll be hoping to give their home fans something to cheer about. Alex Fowler's been putting the ball on the floor really well, but this time her shot gets interrupted.
And it does. It makes a huge difference playing at home, especially when you've been on the road for a bit. Just getting, back on your home court, what you're used to, having those fans, that atmosphere around you. Our fans really are almost a 6th player on the floor. And again, another WNBL game that is super physical, but I love to see, Sharpie and Munga, they're 2 players that absolutely go after boards. Richards as well. So hopefully everyone pulled up okay, and that's just what I love about this league. Everyone's physical, goes 110%, and it's just a great brand of basketball to watch.
So Richards and Sharp staying out there, which is good to see. Bradley with the ball in hand now has done a great job running the point for Sydney this season. Here's Nicholson into Madgen. Finds George. He gets it back to Madgen. Goes up against Alex Sharp, her opposite number 9, and this time can't make her pay. Good work there by Alex Sharp. Here's Melbourne with it now. Munga. Sharp trying to get rewarded on the offensive end, and does.
And that's nice ball movement. Get Sharpie coming off the move into a nice jump shot. It was nice and open, and it was easy. It wasn't a Tyson play where they're going to use lots of energy. So more shots like that will help them in this second half.
Richards on the smaller Melbourne elects to kick it out, and Potter read it best. Melbourne gets it back here. Their team down by 10. Melbourne puts the Jets on and gets the bucket as well. A great start by the Caps here. Back-to-back buckets. They go within single digits here. Bradley. And the Caps get themselves another stop. Melbourne nodding on the floor.
And with Okoye being out and Caps being a little bit smaller, they're able to use that ability of their switching defense. When they're aggressive, it works really well. When they sort of step off, that's when the likes of George and Richards get those shots early and deep in the paint. So if they can keep using this switch to their advantage and being aggressive with it, it will be good for them.
Fowler's got the hot hand. She gives it to Potter, who's been really great defensively tonight and gets some reward offensively as well. A 6-0 run from the Caps to start this term. Richards off to Madgen. Now Bradley. George. Madgen free up the top, and then George just loses it. Some great manic pressure there from the home team.
And this is good. They're starting the third quarter exactly the way they started the first quarter. I think if they can keep this up, it does make Flames slow down. It gets them a bit, more irritated, and they're having to find harder ways to make shots.
And Gemma Potter's really giving Kayla George a bit of trouble out there. Doing a great job as a smaller player. Nicholson to Madgen with poise. This time can't knock it down. Melbourne. Into Potter, back-to-back buckets, not this time. Crowd lamenting how that didn't go in. McSpadden, really great run down the floor. Gets a couple of free throws at the line.
And that's what the Caps need to do. Play really hard, intense defense, and then when they get those deflections or those steals, they're forcing turnovers, and they're able to play the brand of basketball which they like, is that offensive transition. It's looking really good for them right now.
You can see Bunton there just on the spin bike at the top of your screen. Once we get that wide shot back, you can take a look at her at the bottom of your screen, sorry, I should say, just with the towel on her head at the moment.
I did see her ankle was strapped or in an ankle brace, so maybe she's coming back from, a little bit of an ankle niggle, ankle injury. So what players do a lot on the bike is you want to keep warm, because as soon as you sit, you get cold, you get stiff.
So Melbourne now having no such issues, goes to the floor and just can't get the bucket to go. Bradley now. Madgen. Nicholson, trapped in the corner with Sharp, gets the ball back. It was a bit contentious, but Nicholson says, thank you very much, I'll make it work. And that's just what Loz Nicholson does. Finds space, there's not much space around, and Sharp does the same on the other end. We'll head to the line. Good find there by Munga.
It was Capitals have been unfortunate. They've missed a few easy layups that if they made that, they'd only be down by 4 points. So they are finding that middle part really valuable at the moment as well. I feel like they've been getting layups or jump shots. So seeing them use the middle of that space as Flames, that's what they're wanting them to use right now. And then Flames have just done a good job of, staying composed. They have vets on their team in the likes of Madgen, George, Nicholson, so they know what to do with the ball in moments that they need to get something done that are crucial.
So Sharp able to knock down both free throws. Bradley, the team up by 8 points. On the hunt for back-to-back wins are the Flames. Madgen with her arms up in the air. Nicholson doesn't find her yet. And now she gets it, Tess Madgen. Guarded by Alex Sharp, wants to spin around her and just rises over the top. McSpadden rises higher, just couldn't bring the ball down with her. And Potter can get going. Sharp now, Fowler, Munga. 3!
Great skip pass. That was a massive opportunity, and Munga can hit down those threes, you know, at any time of day, and so that's good for her to hit that important 3.
Just like that, the momentum is with the Caps right now. Tess Madgen hasn't made a mistake all game. That one falls out of her hands. Chance for them to inch their way closer.
I wouldn't be surprised if Guy Malloy potentially uses a timeout, surely, especially if Caps get another stop and another score.
Big opportunity for the home team now. Melbourne goes baseline. Munga for back-to-back threes. That one just rattles out. It's still there for Canberra if they can hustle. Fowler was at the bottom of it all. Sydney slightly on the back foot. They've started this game super well. But now the Caps 11 points to 4 in this third term. Done well to work their way back into this contest. Sydney desperate for a bucket. Good settler from Lauren Nicholson moments ago, but then Munga went bang from 3-point range. So that game in the balance right now, and what can the Flames do, I suppose, to... I know they're still leading, but it just feels like they're behind at the moment. What's the strategy for them?
Yeah, they've obviously Caps have applied more pressure, so what Flames just need to do is get the ball through hands, less dribbling, more off-ball action. As you can see, they're using Nicholson. It's used as an Iverson cut, that's what it's called. So you'll get 2 bigs on an elbow and 2 guards either way swinging through. So that is good action for them. But even the likes of going to the O boards, you see just then Madgen shot it, not one person got in the key. So just extra possessions. And, you know, it's hard. Sometimes Caps, they are young, they get up and in, they play the full 4 quarters. Sometimes it gets on your nerves. So for them just to, you know, slow down, they know what to do. Go back to the processes that were working. Look for those on balls with George, create the mismatch and play good defense.
Melbourne uses her pace and gets up the other end of the floor in just a matter of seconds. Tell you what, Jade Melbourne working her way into this contest nicely after a slow start. Sharp's there at the bottom of it all. A team within 3, a chance to level the scores. Go within a point. Gets it to Potter. Melbourne back up the top. Gets the screen from Potter. Then splits the D again. An offensive foul call there. Geez, a bit tough. Melbourne just trying to use her pace once again, and her and McSpadden both take a tumble. I'll tell you what, I don't know how Jade Melbourne doesn't wear knee pads out there. The amount of time she hits the deck is quite incredible. She's still upright.
When you're young, you can go through anything. I remember I was like that, and then, you know, as you play more seasons, get a bit older, the trusty knee pads, I love them. Live and die by them.
But Cole's signature. Nicholson finds some space. She charges through.
This is where Caps have done a great job to chip away at it, get back. Now they just need to stay cool, calm and collected. You're a bit tired. You know, Melbourne has just been on the floor a couple of times. You're a bit battered, you're bruised, maybe you're upset with the call. Is just be like, deep breath. You've got it. You know, you see her coming off for a sub. I actually think that's a great call by Bill. Give her a minute, then sub her back in and just, you know, get the ball back through hands. Make sure we're keeping our hands out and, you know, keep chipping away because you've rattled Flames right now. So keep it up.
Nicholson, you feel, will be the key for Sydney here. Now they're leading scorer on the floor with 16 points, 6 from 7 from the field. Just popped this team on her back for a lot of the season. She'll have to do it again here as the Caps come charging again. Potter. Nicholson right with her. Potter spins around and knocks it down.
Potter's having a great game. She's been awesome on the defensive end tonight. That's really stuck out to me, especially, you know, her being a small player. And I think she's really brought that energy and that spark. And here you go, you hear the Caps atmosphere going off. They're only 2 points down. This is where they just need to stick with it, slow it down, keep up this defensive intensity, and then just get the ball through hands.
Saw Jade Melbourne come straight back on. Kristen Veal sensing a moment here. Are you surprised there's been no timeout yet from Guy Malloy? It's been very interesting seeing his team still battling it out there.
I am surprised, but also sometimes you just need to fight through, you know, the ebbs and flows of the game, and they've done it before. Canberra do little runs of attacks, and, you know, Sydney were able to get back that lead.
Clark can't level the scores. Canberra crowd riding every wave in the arena. A dreary old day outside, but all the action on the inside at the National Convention Centre. And there is that timeout that we've been waiting for, Bet Cole, and this one has been brought to you by Ford Aussie Hoops. Ford Aussie Hoops, the perfect introduction to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years. Basketball Australia launching the Ford Aussie Hoops Award for 2023. To find out more, visit aussiehoops.basketball to register. So 49 plays 47, and just like that, Caps find themselves right back into this game. Guy Malloy's got a bit of thinking to do.
He does, but Guy Malloy there looks pretty cool, calm and collected. I think he trusts his team, which, you know, is a really nice feeling to have within the group. I think he will be a bit upset probably with their defensive intensity. If they can, you know, pick up the ball early and make sure that, I think they're crashing the boards. That's what Caps are really good at with the likes of, you know, Potter and Sharp and even Fowler at times. So they just need to stay cool, calm and collected. Stay together. Don't start pointing fingers. You know, don't fall apart. There's still another 3.5 minutes left in this quarter and a whole fourth quarter. Like I said, this game is full of ebbs and flows. You just have to ride the waves out and know and trust your experience.
And for the Caps, Jade Melbourne, you saw the top scorer on the screen there, 11 points, 5 from 16 from the field. Interesting to see Monica Okoye back out there on the 4 fouls. We haven't seen her this whole term, and for much of the second term as well. She came off very early in the first quarter. So Veal's needing her out there possibly for a play and for a bit of momentum as they look to take the lead in this one. My apologies, they misattributed one foul for Monica Okoye before, so luckily for her, she's on just the 3 fouls for the time being, so that's why we see her back out there. Munga draws level. A big bucket from Nicole Munga, and we're all square at the National Convention Centre. Row into Clark. Nicholson can't get the crucial bucket, but Clark, really great rebound there.
And that's what Clark can bring, is an extra possession for her team. She is also great on the O boards.
George double teamed and double dribbled. Actually, I think the shot clock expired there, my apologies, but either way, it's a stop for the Capitals. A chance to take the lead. Their biggest lead of the game was 4 points. Haven't seen that since the first term. Of course, they're desperate for their first win of the season. They've gone none from 6 so far. It's been a long time in between drinks for them. Here they go through Melbourne. Clark, Potter. Munga wanted Potter back. Gets her. Free on the shot clock for Gemma Potter and pops it in! Capitals take the lead!
That was a tough shot, but nice recognition of the shot clock. You know, they were counting down 4, 3, 2, and she was able to get it off in time.
Imagine yet to score in this third term. Panousis into George. Also not on the score sheet yet. Imagine can't let the crucial bucket, can't convert the crucial bucket, I should say.
Caps had a miscommunication on that play there, so they were lucky to get away with Madgen not knocking down that shot. But on defense, they have done a better job in this third quarter to lock Madgen down, not let her get those easy buckets, and that's been a help in why they are leading by 3 right now.
So Koya bringing the ball down the floor. Has Melbourne for support. Under 2 minutes left in this third quarter. It's been all the Caps, 19 points to 5. And this time Sydney get a little win. Madgen into George, back to Madgen. Bradley. Goes on her own and then dumps it into Richards. Had Clark in the corner, went on her own, and Melbourne's there to pick it all up. Gets to work on Emma Clark. Potter's out there free. So too is Clark of the Jada variety. Goes left and knocks it down. Jada Clark's first points of the game come at a really good time. 8-0 run from Canberra. And it's about to get even better. Another stop, another chance for some points. Just like that, it's not working for the Flames.
No, it's not right now, and I think, you know, the Caps are doing a great job. It's all starting down the defensive end for me. They're applying pressure, they're forcing turnovers, they've got a 24-second shot clock, and then they've been coming down either transition or getting it through hands.
And Clark with another look and knocks down back-to-back buckets. Good recognition from Melbourne to get it while it's hot. 55 plays 49, a 6-point lead for the Caps. They were down by as much as 15 points early on in the second. Bradley rescues it there for the Flames, and George into Clark. Shot clock ticks down to 1. I don't know if Clark's aware, and another shot clock expiration. The Caps are on fire.
And that's 2 24-second shot clock violations that Caps have forced Flames into. If you're Veely, you've got to be really happy with how your team has been going. You can see the bench getting up and about. It's been awesome. You know, that this is something that I love about sport, is the team environment and how you go through these highs and lows together. So Melbourne will run this shot clock out for one last possession so Flames can't get it back.
The best reality TV show on earth is sport, and it's delivering right in front of our eyes. Melbourne pulls the trigger. Okoye right there with it, couldn't knock it down. And the Flames breathe a sigh of relief, but that quarter belonged to the home side, and don't the crowd love it? It's the Capitals 55 leading the Flames 49 at the end of 3 quarters. The Capitals went on a massive run, 23 points to 5 in that third term. And they're in a chance, Bet Cole, to win this game. What can they do to continue their momentum as we take a look back at what got them to this position?
Defense, defense, defense. That has been the key for them tonight when they've got on rolls. I've said it before and I'll say it again. To me, Potter has been a highlight on the defensive end. You see Sharpie there getting hands. She's been there in important times. And then just Melbourne with the ball in her hand is reading that transition. I thought she did a much better job in this quarter of, you know, reading when to attack and then reading when 2 or 3 people collapsed on her to then kick it out to her open shooters. To me, that's what it's all about, is their defense. And, you know, for the Flames, they just need to stay composed. They need to make sure they're getting balls through hands, cut hard, screen hard. Make sure you're doing your possession right now to help your teammate get open after you. That's what it's all about.
Taking a look at the stats, and they've even right up, as you can see, in the field goal percentage range. 43 for the Caps, 45 for the Flames. Right on top there in the three-pointers as well, 27 to 24. Free throws are really even. It looks so even from the stats there. We know the momentum right now is with the Caps, but the Flames will also still back themselves and their experience in to take this one. Beck, what do you think they can do to take the win here tonight?
Well, if you look there, Flames have 14 turnovers to Capitals 8. So that's the defensive pressure that the Caps have applied. So what they need to do is just make sure they're looking after the ball here and being smart with every possession.
And getting Nicholson and Madgen back into the game would help as well. 16 and 14 for those two. Jade Melbourne with 11 points, Sharp with 10, also with 8 rebounds. She's in double-double territory, Alex Sharp. And we'll see what those two can do to bring their side home. Of course, the Caps haven't experienced a win this season. Finished last at the bottom of the ladder last season as well. They would love to get a win here. Haven't experienced success in 310 days. The Flames coming off a fantastic win against Adelaide on Wednesday night, a real character-building win. Got over the line by 2 points. Kayla George with a double-double. They love to go back-to-back. It's their second of 3 games on the road in 8 days. And as the fourth quarter tips off, it's all on the line for these two sides. The Capitals 55, playing the Flames 49. It was all the Flames in the opening half, and then the Capitals got back on the board, and that's a career high for Gemma Potter, 11 points, along with a great defensive game.
And I can't wait for this fourth quarter. Will, you know, the young and, you know, they're fit, they get up and about. Will they take out this fourth quarter, or will it be the experience that gets Flames over the line?
Madgen couldn't use the spin cycle to effect. It allows Melbourne to get going up the other end. Dumps it back into Fowler, and she goes to the line.
A great pass by Melbourne there. You saw that the Flames did a Euro switch, so that's where the lower guard comes out instead of, you know, Madgen following her over. And then Fowler just got into that back cut and that dumper spot. And again, that's just easy basketball.
So Fowler at the line. Had a really consistent season. Alex Fowler shooting 60% from three-point range, 75% from the field. That one just goes astray at the end of it all. Bradley with it now. Flames find themselves down after a massive run of momentum from this young Capitals team. Love Lauren Nicholson to get herself back into this game. Top scorer on the floor at the moment with 16 points. Didn't score much, I have to say, in the third term. Just the 3 points.
And that's what Caps did do a better job, is Nicholson and Madgen being their top scorers. They were able to shut them down in that third quarter.
And Nicholson can get her game going here with a couple of free throws. After a foul there on Melbourne.
And I like that Nicholson has come out in the first 2 plays. She's been aggressive. She's drawn fouls. Now she's getting herself to the line. I like how she's come out in this fourth quarter.
So Nicholson shooting at a really good clip tonight as well. 75% from the field. She's 66% tonight from the line. 3 rebounds to her name as well. Having a really consistent season back with the Sydney Flames. Of course, we know how much success she's had with the Townsville Fire in previous seasons. But tonight, she's putting this Sydney side on her back as they come up against a really determined Capitals outfit tonight, looking for their first win of the season. Munga, Melbourne, Fowler. Wanted Melbourne back, but instead got George, and now Nicholson off and running. Has Richards in front of her. Gives it back to George instead. Nicholson with it again. George thinks about it, and then heads to Richards. Here's Madgen. Shot clock in single digits. Madgen pulls the trigger, and it's her first points in the second half. Tess Madgen.
And that was a better possession. Nicholson, she went down on O-Tran. She realised, you know, that's not the greatest option, so she threw it to George. They got it through hands, got it to a pick and roll with Madgen in that open jump shot. So that was a good play for them.
Back up the top to Melbourne. Shot clock down to 5. Melbourne steps back and knocks it down. Jade Melbourne working herself into this game very nicely after a really rough start. A very long-range three from the 21-year-old superstar guard. George now, nowhere to go, gets Nicholson. Melbourne comes in her face. And it ends up with the Caps. Really good defensive pressure. It's what you alluded to, Beck Cole, is what they need to keep themselves on top of this game. Melbourne goes again. Can't knock it down. Nicholson. Bradley corralled by Sharp. And they get out of trouble. It's manic pressure by Canberra at the moment. Madgen into George. Lets it rip and knocks it down.
And will that be the shot for George that gets her going and is really important with almost 7 minutes to go?
9 points for Kayla George this game. 5 rebounds and 3 assists as well. Not a bad game, but by her standards, she could be having a big impact. Melbourne just rises above the rest. And she's putting on a show at the NCCC. Imagine now, it was all about her in the first half, her 250th game tonight. She'd love to bring home a win. Here she is with the ball in hand again. Goes up against Fowler and knocks it down. Tess Madgen, welcome back to this game. And a timeout called on the floor. The game hangs right in the balance. 63 plays 57. As we take a look at this replay, Tess Madgen just rising above and getting her second basket of the term. And this timeout is brought to you by the WNBL. The official WNBL app is finally here. We don't want you to miss a minute of the action, therefore. For live scores, highlights, all your player and team info and more, download the free WNBL app today. So a pretty even fourth term to start here, Beck. 8 points apiece. What do you think each coach is saying in their huddle right now?
Oh, this is exciting. This fourth quarter has been great. Like we said, will it be, you know, the young and the energetic that take it out in this game, or will it be the expertise of the Flames? And we saw the last 2 possessions, you know, George with a turnaround jump shot in the block, and then Madgen in a, you know, a pull-up jump shot on a dime. And this is the thing with experienced teams, is they know where to get the ball in whose hands. They know what shots can fall for them. So I think this is a good timeout for both teams. You know, it's been a pretty fast-paced game tonight. So have a drink, have a breather, reset. And for me, it's all about the defense for this game tonight, and getting the ball through hands and reading how each team is playing you on those pick and rolls.
One thing to keep your eye on watching on from home, Kayla George sitting on the 4 fouls, 9 points to her name at the moment. So big watch here for Sydney.
And if I was Veely, I would have probably said that in that timeout. Hey, whoever George is playing on, because she's a big key to their game, is let's try attack her. She's either not going to want to play hard defense to foul out, or you're forcing her to play defense and you're getting her out of the game.
Very interesting times here at the NCCC. The Capitals leading by 6. Got just over halfway left in this game. Jada Clark goes to work, and Dee Dee Richards with the athletic rebounds. Gets it off to Bradley. Jada Clark did everything right there, just couldn't pull down the ball. George kicks it out to Nicholson. Went in herself, and as classy as that, Lauren Nicholson gets her 20th point of the game.
George has done a good job now in the fourth quarter, realising, hey, she's getting double teamed, they're sinking down on her. She's turned around and given that skip pass to the open corner, and Nicholson has done a great job of either shooting that 3 or driving to the basket.
Clark. Imagine hits the deck, Fowler. Can't knock the shot down, and geez, everyone's on the floor at the moment. It's a physical game out there. Everything on the line for these two teams. It does not feel like 5th versus 8th. This feels like 1st versus 2nd. Both teams putting everything out there, desperate for a win. Nicholson. Into Magin. Getting around Melbourne, but not successfully, and Melbourne pulls down the rebounds. Has a few options ahead of her. Who does she elect to go to? Tries to pick out Jada Clark, but the bounce pass doesn't quite work out. Sydney ball.
There's going to be a few sore bodies tomorrow. It's been very physical, lots of bodies on the floor. Everyone going hard at it. Clark went to back cut there, which was the right move, but Richards read it well and stopped her from getting in that lane.
So Jade Melbourne will be taking a seat, gearing up for a big end to this game. She's on 16 points, 7 from 20 from the field. She's taken 20 shots in this game, which is remarkable. 6 rebounds and 3 assists. Bradley into Nicholson now. Nicholson with 20 points to her name. Clark, Magin, Nicholson, George. Happy to share around these flames. Oh, and Nicholson pops up the tough shot. That is much needed for Sydney. And they're back within 2. Or 3, I should say. Clark now, guarded by Emma Clark. Gets fouled. So 63 plays 61. Less than 4 minutes left in this game. And Jade Melbourne, just like that, heads straight back on. Jada Clark will take a seat. It's been very short rest tonight for Jade Melbourne. Off and on in a matter of seconds.
I think it's smart by Veely, especially, you know, they've been on the road.
Oh,
it's been
just
a lot.
like that. That's why you want her out there, isn't it?
But that's, yeah, you have a breather, you got the energy to go again.
Imagine now. George pulls the trigger. Emma Clark has had a good couple of offensive rebounds tonight. George finds some space and finds the bucket to go with it.
Flames have done a good job in those last few possessions of doing that inside-outside game by George, then passing it out a few times. Then the defense isn't as likely to sink, and then she gets an open shot.
So I wonder how much fatigue plays a factor here. Canberra coming off 4 straight games on the road. Sydney had a really hard battle against Adelaide, just got over the line by a couple of points on Wednesday night. That's the start of their 3 road games in 8 days. There's a lot of fatigue out there right now. With 3 minutes and 8 seconds left, it's anyone's game.
It is, I'm nervous. It's not even finals games yet, but this is why I love it. Is, you know, you think one team is down and out, and they're not. So many teams so far in this season have come back from 15 or 20 points down to win, and it is incredible and showing how talented the league is.
Caps are down by as much as 15. Sydney down by as much as 9. They both had good comebacks in this game. That's offline from George.
And again, great D by Potter. She's getting up and in, forcing a tough shot.
It's been arguably a career best game from Gemma Potter tonight. Definitely a career high in terms of points with 11. 5 from 9 from the field. Doing it all defensively. Still, it's the Caps by 2. This game hanging right in the balance. Sharp. Back into Melbourne. Fowler open. Can't knock it down. Sharp's there for the rebound, and clever shot to put back up. And I reckon that's George's 5th foul. So a big moment in this game.
Massive moment in this game. You've got Sharpie doing what she does best, going for offensive boards. George with her 5th foul, who's just, you know, gotten going on the offensive end, made some good decisions. This could be a massive thing right now in the name of the game.
So Lara McSpadden has to see out the rest of this game. Kayla George finishes with 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists and 2 steals. Here's Alex Sharp at the line. Puts her team ahead by 3. See there, George fouled out Okoya, with 3, and so too Munga for Canberra. But Sharp says, don't worry about that. I've knocked down my 2 free throws. I've done my work. 12 points for Alex Sharp this game. And the crowd doing everything they can to disrupt Sydney, who are trying desperately to get themselves back into this contest. Imagine in her 250th game, senses the moment.
Massive three-point shot.
66 plays 67, less than 2 minutes to go in this game. Will it be the Caps who get their first win in 310 days, or will the Flames go back-to-back? Still a heap to play out in this last minute 50. Again, bodies hit the deck. And Fowler cops a bit there from Madgen. So team fouls coming into it as well. Flames on 4, Capitals on 2. Again, another player on the deck. This time it's Fowler again. Melbourne up against Bradley. Nicholson's there for the take. Another foul. The crowd don't like that one. Sydney ball. The crowd riding every bump, every wave, every call.
And Flames have to be careful here with 4 team fouls with just under 2 minutes to go. That can be crucial. Foul shots, when it's early on in the game, people might think, hey, it doesn't really mean a lot. But if you lose by a couple of points, you always look back and think, damn it, I should have made those. So if they put Capitals to the line, that's foul shots that are easy and they're not having to work hard for. So Flames need to clean it up here with the last minute and a half.
Nicholson into Bradley, a chance for the Flames to take the lead back. They led by as much as 15 and Nicholson can't get the and one. Just willing the ball in the hoop. Now she gets her chance at the line.
Nicholson's been doing a great job. The Capital guards have either been in a switch or in an ice, and if they're allowing her baseline, Nicholson is great penetrating baseline, and she's either been getting layups or jump shots, and they especially need her in these moments of the game.
I believe that's Munga's 4th foul as well. So now the Capitals all of a sudden have team fouls to worry about and individual things to watch out for too. Nicholson, the 23rd point of the game. He's been a scoring machine this season and more importantly draws the Flames level. A chance to take the lead here. And does so. Lauren Nicholson comes up clutch, a timeout called, and it's going to be a crucial one. 1:23 left. It's the Flames up by 1. On the hunt for back-to-back wins. The Capitals would love to get their first victory of the season. They pushed the Melbourne Boomers to overtime. Are we in for maybe another overtime tonight, Beck? You never know. It's been that sort of game.
It has. I feel like there's been overtime left, right and centre here so far in this season, and it just shows how good teams are, how close it is, and, who knows at this point? It's a minute and a half left. It's a 1-point game. I can't wait to see who stands up, who takes it on their shoulders, and who gets it done here tonight. But I think Capitals need to remember, play really hard defence and then be poised on the offensive end. And then with the Flames, stay out of that foul trouble. And I think if I was Flames, I'd be looking to Madgen and Nicholson, who have been great on the offensive end tonight.
I saw Carrie Graff there on the sidelines looking pretty nervous with her Capital shirt on. It's anyone's game at the moment. Take us into each huddle very quickly, Beck. What's the plans from here? 1:23 left.
You can see each coach drawing up plays here, so I think there will be specific plays that they want run, especially if, hey, we're up or we're down. These are things that we practice at team training during the week. They're called situation drills, where depending if you're up or down, what plays you need, where you want the ball to go and to what player. So that would definitely be 2 things that Guy and Billy would have run through, and potentially maybe a defensive switch up. Just throw it out them once, make the other team have to think.
Capitals have come up short a number of times this season. They put it all on the line. The Flames have got a couple of really impressive wins. A few heartbreaking losses on their end as well. Both teams would love a win at this time of season. We're over a third of the way through. The ladder's starting to shape up. What can each team do to make an impact here? And that won't work for the Caps. Fowler just loses it. Big chance for Sydney here. 1:03 left. They lead by 1. Emma Clark to inbound from the baseline. It'll be Bradley up against Melbourne. Defense chancering around the arena. The Capitals crowd trying everything to distract the Flames. Who will it be? Will it be Nicholson or Magin here? Right now it's with Nicholson. Gets a screen there from McSpadden. Potter's right there with her. Magin into Bradley, who finds some space. Can't knock down the basket. A crucial rebound there from McSpadden. And a foul called there. I think it was on Alex Sharp. So Sydney get themselves another chance with 39 seconds left. Just too many hands in there.
Oh, and Caps were so lucky with Bradley not hitting that open 3. And this is where late in the game you have to get the rebounds. It's been crucial for many teams. I know especially us with the Flyers, they're must-haves. They've been lucky McSpadden has missed this first. It'll be interesting to see if she knocks down this second.
Caps in the bonus. Crucial free throw here for Lara McSpadden. Kayla George out with 5 fouls. McSpadden senses the moment, knocks it down. Another timeout called. It's a very, very close game. 69 plays 67.
It is. I'm on the edge of my seat. All these timeouts. I don't know how coaches do it. I'm stressed.
Cheryl Chambers, if you're out there watching, I think Bet Cole senses what you go through each game. So both teams back in their huddles now. What's the play here? What's the plan here, Beck?
All Capitals need to do, you don't need to be anything fancy and go for a 3. Again, there's another couple of possessions left in this game. You know, they have forced teams to overtime, so they know what to do. I would look at Veerley is probably running a play, maybe a pick and roll action with Jade and the big, but actually looking for Sharpie to come off weak side and look in that middle space in the key for a jump shot or a layup, or even a backdoor cut. Flames here, they'll be speaking about they need to get it done on the defensive end here, and then Guy will be drawing up a play. I have seen them run the Iverson cut that I spoke about earlier a fair few times. Nicholson has been great off that option. It wouldn't surprise me maybe if they run that as well if they get a stop. That is a play that runs through the shot clock. And it might be a situation as well, like I spoke about earlier, is you do drills at training. If Caps don't get this score, if I was them, I would probably look at fouling. But that's a big call, and I'm not a coach, so that's up to them.
Little disclaimer there from Beck Cole. But you've got to try everything. 39.7 seconds left. 69 plays 67. And here we go. It's with Jade Melbourne. Crowd getting right behind their point guard. He's been fearless this game. 18 points. What's she got left? Kicks it into Sharp in some space and scores a level again.
Called it again, Sharpie. Here we go, I'm on a roll. I'm speaking things into fruition.
Coaching career beckons for you, Beck, but for now, we've got a game to worry about. Take a look at this. Melbourne taking her time, and then Sharp, excellent in finding some space up against McSpadden there. What a crucial bucket.
Oh, this is nuts.
To draw these two teams level. Sydney leading by as much as 15 earlier on in the game. The Caps leading by as much as 9. 26.6 seconds left. Who wins it from here, Beck?
Oh, I'm not even stating that because I do not know. It's a seesaw at the moment, but both teams will be making sure you are not fouling at all right now. You're level. You're not letting them get a cheap shot to win the game. You're riding this out. If I was Flames, I'd probably look at doing a play that does use up most of the shot clock, because then if you do score, Canberra don't have enough time to get down the other end. But if you do miss, you need to make sure you've got ball pressure. You're finding that early, and Melbourne isn't just running it down for a quick transition layup.
So 2 seconds between shot clock and game clock here. How much can the Flames use it up? 69 apiece. The Capitals in the bonus. The Flames without Kayla George on the floor. She's got the 5 fouls. So it'll be up to McSpadden, Madgen and Nicholson and Bradley. And for the Capitals, Jade Melbourne has been running things all night for them. The music pumping in the arena, the crowd screaming at the top of their lungs. They're willing their team to their first win of the season. Sydney here to spoil the party and get themselves 2 straight wins on the road. Get their season back on track. It's with Bradley. Now it's with Clark. Into Nicholson. Their scoring machine this game and this season. Gets it back from Bradley. Nicholson pumps it in! That is clutch from Lauren Nicholson, and 10 seconds left here for the Caps to win this game. Jade Melbourne can't get the N1, but will head to the line for 2 of the most crucial free throws you'll see this season.
That was a great play by Guy Malloy, because I was even watching it here being like, what? This is, you know, a bit of a different action. They're just sort of moving the ball at the top of the key on the 3-point line, and then you see Nicholson, what she does best, moving off the ball for a clutch layup. And Jade, big shots here. She's made one, but like we said, there was still enough time on the shot clock for her to get it down. This is an intense game.
Crucial shot coming up for Jade Melbourne here. And it rattles out. And the Capitals have no option but to foul. Jade Melbourne with her hands on her head. She has done everything out there tonight. 19 points. And she's got her head in her hands, sensing what could have been. We spoke about how important those free throws were going to be in these dying seconds, Beck, and that's Exhibit A, unfortunately, for Jade Melbourne and the Caps.
They are, but what they need to realise is this is McSpadden. So if you were going to foul anyone, this would be the right player to foul, as her free throw percentage isn't as high as other players. So there is still 2.9 seconds for them to get this rebound and run it down the other end. But they're going to have to be smart about it.
So Lara McSpadden hasn't had the best night from the line. Actually has 5 from 6. I meant from the season she hasn't had the best. But here she is in 3.2 seconds left in the game. She misses the first one.
And this is where, if you're Jade Melbourne, you have to get that miss out of your head. It's on you now to get the ball quickly up the floor. The game is not over.
Flames up by a point. Can McSpadden make it 2? She can. Subs coming onto the floor.
Oh, that is a very tactical sub by Guy Malloy, not letting them get it on transition.
You could see him telling the plan to McSpadden before those free throws were to go in. 3.2 seconds here for the Caps to win this game. Jade Melbourne from long range. Can't bake it in. It is the Sydney Flames who escape on the road. They go back-to-back. A clutch win without Kayla George on the floor in those dying minutes. Lauren Nicholson stood up to the test. And at the end of 4 action-packed frenetic quarters, it is the Flames 72 getting the win over the Capitals 70. And what a brave performance from Sydney Beck Cole. They celebrate Tess Madgen's 250th game with a win. How do they do it?
This is where sometimes your expertise and just your experience and having those vets really does come into play. McSpadden did a great job when George was fouled out, but, you know, Madgen in her 250th was really great in that first half tonight. She hit a couple of big shots in that second half, but Nicholson was absolutely amazing. She really put the team on her back, and that was such a close game, and they've got to be really happy with the fact that it's another close game and they really did get the win. But also as a team, I know from us personally, you don't want to be in those situations. So what can we do to get better so we're not having to fight it out?
And no surprise to see Lauren Nicholson is our player of the game. 26 points, 75% from the field, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. She was absolutely everywhere tonight. She got the game-winning basket in the end. And we know we talk about the imports, you know, we've got Canada and McDonald as MVP. Should we have Lauren Nicholson's name in the conversation? She's had a fantastic season, continues to drag her team over the line week in, week out, and she did it again tonight, Beck.
She did. She was great tonight, really reading the pick and rolls great, and, you know, she was able to knock down a long shot right there well. But for me, it was reading the pick and rolls, getting 2 feet in the paint, finishing strong. And, yeah, she really did take her team on her shoulders in that last quarter. And she just is a great mover off ball action as well.
So Lauren Nicholson, 7th leading scorer in the league, getting her team back-to-back wins. And their next game up ahead is one that she would have circled on her calendar, that's for sure, because they continue their road travel as the season goes on. And the Capitals, for now, just left to rue what could have been a brave effort from them as we take a look at the highlights from the 4th term, Beck. Quite even in the end, 15 points to plays 23. So Sydney got on top, but the Capitals can be proud of their efforts this game, as you mentioned.
They can be. You know, they're a young team and they're going to keep learning and growing from tight situations. And, you know, that's just the name of the game. But I think also they have had a tough 2 losses, so that can be really deflating. But they're back home now. They have a few games which will be, you know, I guess a great confidence for them, because sometimes that's all you need is just to be back on your home floor. So that will be a tough one and that will hurt tonight.
Absolutely. It means the Capitals continue to stay at the bottom of the table for the time being this season. 0 from 7. But up next, they have a chance to go up against Townsville on their home deck. The crowd got right behind them tonight and wheeled them over the line. And we take a look at the team stats. It was pretty even in the end. 48% from the field for the Flames and 43% for the Caps. And then from there on, you can see the turnovers the Caps ended up accumulating in that 4th term.
Exactly. Flames, you know, they did a better job on the defensive end. They forced Capitals into more turnovers. And then Flames were at 12 or 14 at half time, so they actually decreased. And, yeah, then you saw them just moving the ball better, a couple more assists. Yeah, good ball movement.
And we take a look at the top scorers from each team. We mentioned Lauren Nicholson's work. Tess Madgen, fantastic with 21 points in her 250th game. Kayla George with 11 points before getting fouled out. And 3 players in double figures for the Caps. 19 for Melbourne, 14 for Sharp, along with 10 rebounds. A nice double-double for her. And Gemma Potter having a great game offensively and defensively. 11 points for a career best numbers for her. You can see Shanice Swain there. Great to see her up and about on the bench. We hope to see her back soon, because Sydney have got a tough next 4 games. We know they've got Perth up next on the road, and then they finally return home against the Townsville Fire, and they've got the Boomers and the Spirit. So a couple of crucial and winnable games there, they'd think, after going back-to-back tonight, Beck.
Yeah, Flames will be super happy that they've gotten back-to-back wins, and I think that is good for their momentum. But you have to look at that, and the next 3 games are all top 4 teams. So, you know, they're really going to have to switch on, lock in, keep building every week and come prepared for every game.
And an equally tough run for Canberra coming up as well. No mean feat taking on Townsville on their home deck, then up against Melbourne and Adelaide. So a great stint of games at home, and then they travel to Perth away. They'll be looking to try and bank a win in these next 4 games while they have that time on their home floor, Beck.
They will, and like I said earlier, hopefully they've really learned from those tough losses, what they have done really well to fight back and what they can do to get better to stay in front. And again, and out of those 4 games, another 3 in the top 4, but the first 3 games at home, so hopefully they can use that to advantage and, you know, come away with a win.
And the hoops doesn't stop here tonight. We've got a couple of ripping games coming up to round out round 6. Your Mob Southside at the SBC hosting the Bendigo Spirit. Adelaide up against Perth to kickstart a Sunday doubleheader. And then the Caps back on their home deck hosting Townsville. quick word on your Flyers, Beck. Are you expecting a full house over there at the SBC?
I am, and a quick shout out, we are hosting Lifeline Round, so if anyone can donate, please go to www.lifeline.org.au. Any donation, big or small, is really massive, so I'm super honoured to be hosting Lifeline Round.
Absolutely, get around that cause. It's a wonderful cause, and the Flyers have been pioneers in that space, so thank you for doing what you're doing in that space on behalf of us at the WNBL and your team, Beck. But thank you for joining us tonight on 9 Now. We hope you enjoyed the coverage at the end of 4 action-packed quarters. It was Sydney securing victory over Canberra by just 2 points. On behalf of Julia Montesano, Beck Cole and our amazing production team, we hope you have a great night. We'll catch you tomorrow for Flyers versus Spirit in Lifeline Round right here on 9 Now.